Okay, we are going to do Study Guide 20.0, and Algebra 20.0 says use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. So, the first problem is x squared minus 4x equals 21. And if you will notice, this is not in standard form, because standard form looks like this, and this is going to be a y here, but for us, when we are solving, we're going to make y equal to 0 because we're looking for our x-intercepts, and y is always going to be 0 whenever we're talking about x-intercepts. So our equation needs to look like this. So here's our ax squared. Here's our bx. Please notice our c is over here. We need 0 here. So we're going to subtract 21 from both sides. And we're going to have x squared minus 4x minus 21. And this is really important right here. We're not done. This is an equation, and these combine to make 0. Now we're in standard form. So we need to find a, b, and c. Well, a is the coefficient of the x squared term. This x squared term doesn't seem to have a coefficient, but in fact, since that's 1x squared, the coefficient is 1, so a is 1. B is the coefficient of the x term, which would be negative 4, and c is the constant, which is negative 21. Now, every time we do this, we're going to use a quadratic formula. And I strongly suggest you put it in standard form. You identify a, b, and c like I've done here, and then you write down the quadratic formula. And you should all have this memorized by now. And remember, this fraction bar goes underneath all of this on the right side of the equals sign of the equation, all over 2a. Okay, so I got that there. So I'm going to plug my values in. So x equals negative b. That means whatever b is, we have to make it negative. Well, if you'll notice, b is already negative 4. So we're going to take b, which is negative 4, and we're going to make it more negative. Negative b plus or minus square root. B squared, our b value is negative 4. We're going to square it, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 21. All of this on the right side of the equation is all over 2 times a, and a is 1. So there's your quadratic formula, and there's everything plugged in just like this. Now we're going to simplify. So x equals negative 4 is positive 4, plus or minus the square root of, if I square all of negative 4, I get 16. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and I'm going to take that negative 4 and multiply it by negative 21. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 21 is 84. And that's all over 2 times 1, which is 2. Okay, so we're still x equals 4 plus or minus the square root. Well, 16 plus 84 is 100. All over 2. Now, right now, I know something. My discriminant, everything under the radical, is a positive number. So I know I'm going to have 2 solutions. I know that already because my discriminant's positive. Square root of 100 is 10, so I'm going to rewrite this 4 plus or minus 10 all over 2. And now I'm ready for my 2 equations. And my 2 equations are x equals 4 plus 10 all over 2, or x equals 4 minus 10 all over 2. 4 plus 10 is 14. 14 over 2 is 7. So x equals 7. There's one of my solutions, x-intercepts. And over here, 4 minus 10, be careful here, you have more negatives. That's negative 6 over 3. And negative 6 over 3 is negative 2. So these are your two roots, your two solutions. When you get answers like that, that makes me know that I also could have factored this and solved it by factoring, by X-man. But specifically, you were asked to solve using the quadratic formula, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, x squared plus 7x equals 18. I'm going to go a little faster now so this video isn't 9 hours long. I'm going to get this in standard form. Equals 0. A is 1. B is 7, C is negative 18. X equals negative B, so that'd be negative 7 plus or minus the square root B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A would be 2 times 1. So that would equal negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared is 49. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and negative 4 times negative 18 is positive 72 all over 2, which equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of, it's 121. Yep. All over 2. So x equals, oh, positive discriminant means we're going to have two solutions again. So it's negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 121 is 11 all over 2. So my two equations are x equals negative 7 plus 11 all over 2. X equals negative 7 minus 11 all over 2. Negative 7 plus 11 is positive 4 over 2, which is 2. So x equals 2 is a solution. Negative 7 and negative 11 is negative 18 over 2, which is negative 9. X equals negative 9 is my other solution. Looks like we could have factored that one too, because there's no radicals in our answer. Okay, number 3, x squared equals 6x minus 9. I want all my terms on one side, and I want my leading coefficient to be positive, so I'm going to move this one over here and this one over here. Subtract 6x. And add 9. Bring this down, oopsie, it's a negative. Bring this down in standard form. Okay, and I'm going to identify A, B, and C. Quadratic formula. X equals negative B, which is already negative, plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2 times 1. Negative negative 6 is positive 6 plus or minus the square root. Negative 6 quantity squared is 36. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. All over 2 times 1, which is 2. 36 minus 36 is 0. When the discriminant is 0, I know I'm going to have one solution. So x equals 6 plus or minus 0 all over 2. So here are my two equations. X equals 6 plus 0 over 2. X equals 6 minus 0 over 2. This is 6 over 2. X equals 3. This is 6 over 2, x equals 3. Since these are the exact same value, I really just have one solution, x equals 3. That's consistent with a discriminant of 0, and if I graph this, the only place it would touch